Hey, Assalamualaikum. In this video, we will understand about the Omentin physiology. So, Omentin 1 and 2, but mostly we will focus on the Omentin 1. So, first identified and characterized in 2006 by Yang et al. So, the Yang is the basically scientist which that discovered it in 2006. On the other hand, the recently discovered adipokine. So, omentin is the adipokine released from the adipose tissue, as a adipose tissue play important role as a gland to release the cytokines as a adipokine, which that target to the other cell to change the physiology. So, we will understand the whole picture in this video. So, the protein hormone, it is secreted by visceral adipose tissue. So mostly it is released from the visceral adipose tissue and from stromal vascular fraction importantly, rather than the adipocytes themselves. So not only the adipocyte but the stromal vascular fraction. And Omentin 1 and 2 in more studied. So the basically the from stromal vascular fraction mean other cell also release like adipocyte and the pericyte and monocyte, macrophage, smooth muscle cell as well as the mesenchymal stem cell. So the collectively release this omentin due to the less fat. Whenever the increase the adipose tissue, so this will be decline. So stromal vascular fraction will release this adipokine, the omentin will enter into the blood circulatory system and it will be ready to target to the several type of tissue. Let's understand about that. So in this way, here is whenever the fat will be dropped and lower content of the fat will increase the omentin, which that will lead to cardiovascular health and the vasodilation to prevent the hypertension. So in this way, on the other hand, it will also target the beta cell of the pancreas to degranulation of the insulin and increase the insulin sensitivity, uptake of the glucose and improve insulin resistance reverse. So in this way, the insulin resistance will be prevent. But anyhow, the glucose will uptake into the muscle rather than the adipose tissue. So the marvel character of the omentin is the type 2 diabetes mellitus prevention. So the insulin sensitivity will be increased. But the next marvel character of the omentin, let's understand about that. So the omentin basically also give the health to the endothelial tissue, the endothelial cell of the blood circulatory system. So how? Let's understand about that, and we will also understand about the vasodilation, how it is possible. So this is the omentin will enter into the lumen, into the blood circulatory system. So here is the RBC for understanding you better. So in this way, the omentin basically will target whenever the endothelial cell injury will occur, will lead to pro-inflammatory cytokines release like the tumor necrotic factor alpha and interleukin 6. These in pro-inflammatory cytokines basically omentin will prevent it. So in this way, the omentin will stop the inflammation. That is why the smart person less inflammation while the fatty person increase the low degree inflammation. But anyhow, endothelial nitric oxide synthase enzyme activation lead to increase the nitric oxide will lead to vasodilation increase. So in this way, the stretching of the wall of the tunica media, the smooth muscle cell dilate. On the other hand, important thing is that here is you can see the endothelial inflammation decrease, but how it is possible? So in this the pro-inflammatory cytokines will be inhibit. On the other hand, the AKT and ERK1 and 2 pathway will increase, will lead to transcription factor in the DNA, will lead to increase the necrotic factor kappa B for the prevention of the damage of the endothelial cell. So the angiogenesis, endothelial migration, and a lot more health beneficial effect of the cardiovascular cell will occur. So the macrophage and the monocyte, as well as the which that release the tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin 6, which that can be prevented due to the Omentin 2 inflammatory cytokines inhibition to inhibition of cytokines will lead to inhibition of the inflammation. In this way, the inflammation will decrease. The relationship with disease is that obesity. So whenever you will be decrease your obesity, so the Omentin ultimately increase, while when Omentin decrease, so the obesity ultimately increase. So the Omentin will prevent the obesity, so in this way the obesity can decrease, while due to a metabolic disease prevention. And on the other hand, the insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes mellitus inhibition by the Omentin, if the Omentin will decline and decrease, so in this way the insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes mellitus inhibition and improve cardiovascular disease basically will decrease. So cardiovascular disease prevention via Omentin can be possible. The therapeutic potential is the beneficial metabolic and vascular effects. Therapeutic target are biomarker for metabolic and cardiovascular disease. So we can understand the low level of Omentin with the link cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes mellitus, and we can understand that. So anyhow, in summarization, the Omentin is important for the insulin and glucose uptake metabolism and the type 2 diabetes mellitus prevention and the cardiovascular health. I hope you make sense about that. Bye.